Okay, welcome to Bryce. This is our very first Bryce tutorial. So what we're going to be learning today is how to basically use the controls in the program to create some objects, give them materials, change them from wireframe to rendered image, and look at our world from different views. So right now we have the Create menu open. There's a couple of planes up at the top. This is sky, water, and ground. You also find that if you click one, like water, you will see the preview change. This is our rendered image preview. This is in wireframe mode right here. We can't see what is going on yet until we click render. The render button is on the controls panel on the left. It is the big button that says render. When you hover over things in Bryce, it will give you on the bottom right corner, or the bottom left corner down here, it will give you the name of what the tool is. So if we click render, we can tell that I've just made an ocean that goes on infinitely forever. And the little line going down tells me that it's rendering. I can hit escape to go back to wireframe. You may have to hit it twice if it's currently rendering. So I've just made this water plane. It doesn't show up like a water plane, it shows up like a grid because these are infinite planes. Infinite means they go on forever. I'm going to delete this by pushing delete. So right now I have a ground and I have a basic sky. This green line across the screen is the horizon line where the sky meets the land. And this shape that's kind of a very light, faint gray, it looks like a square with an X through it and some diagonal X lines that go all the way to the corners. That represents the camera. So I'm going to start by creating an object. I'm going to choose the terrain. I'm going to make a mountain. We're not going to worry about resizing anything right now, but now I have a mountain. So I'm going to hit render, and you will see there is a mountain. It already has a default material on it. I'm going to hit escape twice. While it's selected, if I click on it and click off of it, it's unselected. If I click on it with my mouse, it will turn red. That means it's selected. When an object is selected, you will have some options over here. Right now we're going to talk about M. M stands for materials, and you'll notice way over here on the bottom left corner it says edit material because it tells you on the bottom over here it tells you what you hover over what it is. So that's edit material. We're going to go to the materials lab. We have a lot of menus here. This is the preview. This is the menu for what kind of materials we have. This is the categories for the number of materials that we have. I don't want an architectural material, so I'm going to choose a terrain. I can click through a subcategory menu and choose a snowy terrain. And then it doesn't look like a sphere because my image is a mountain terrain, so I'm going to change the preview to terrain so I can see what that material looks like on a terrain. Now if I don't like it, I'll try some other ones. When I find one I like, I check it off, and then I check it off again to keep it and go back to my original world. When I render, I will see that my material has changed. I'm going to create a couple more objects. Go back to wireframe by pushing escape. I'm going to create a couple more objects. So I'm going to put a stone and a tree. Stone and trees. I can delete the objects if I've created too many. You can also select the objects that you've created down here, and it tells me that in this bottom tray I've created one mountain. So there's my mountain. You can select it that way. Create a stone. Just move it over here for right now. And I will create a cylinder. I can make it bigger by hovering over the Y and moving my mouse to the left and the right, but we'll go over that soon. and just drag it over here. Now, when I render, this is my view. This is called director's view. You'll notice under the preview over here, there are a whole bunch of controls, but there's also a mountain terrain that you can click on. When you click on this mountain, I'm going to hit escape twice or to get out of my view. When you click on this mountain, it will change your view. This is from the top, from the side, from the other side, from the front and the back, the bottom, and back to director's view. Director's view can be changed by these controls. I can use the trackball right here, and I can change where I want to look at this from. I can also change to camera view. This is my camera, this square over here. So I can change to camera view by clicking on the toggling between the chair and the camera. This is the camera view. When I render it from the camera view, it looks very different. You also notice that it's in a shadow because the sun in the sky is controlling the light, and the camera starts off where the light is hidden. So this is how we make objects, select them, change their materials. There's some fun categories in here that you can play with. Some of them you may notice don't work. That's okay. That means that material does not want to load for that object. So just try a different one. Check it off. Check it off. Render. Okay? So we have a couple of materials and we have a couple of objects, but you'll notice the ground is still this default boring gray. And the sky has not changed from its original one. That's the default sky. So I'm going to click on the ground, I'm going to go to materials, I'm going to change my preview to ground so that I can see what it looks like. And I'll go here to this materials menu and I'll choose a ground that makes more sense for what I would like. I'll do something funky. We'll do flooring. So we'll make it look like a checkerboard. Check it off. Check it off. Render. That's what it looks like from director's view, and I know I'm in director's view because the chair is right there. If you play with the trackball and you get a little bit lost, let's get lost. We're a little bit lost in our views. The director's view is not the way you want it. There's a drop-down menu right to the bottom right corner of the mountain. And we're going to click on that, and we are going to change Reset Views. You could also choose your views easily from here. Reset Views. It puts my director's view back at the beginning and makes it very easy. So we'll render. So if you would like to build some things and change their materials, you know how to do that now. I'm going to go to Sky and Fog, and right now under the Sky and Fog menu, the only thing we're going to learn is the Skylab. If you click on this little cloud with the rainbow coming across it, you'll go to Skylab. This is a lot like the materials menu, but it's the materials for the sky. So we can decide whether it's day or night just by clicking on the sun controls. Day, night. I have a preview right here. I can change this preview to preset skies, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll X out of that because I don't want to change anything yet. And I can change my preview to render in scene so I can see what it looks like when it's nighttime on my world that I've created. Change it to daytime. I'm going to play with the preset skies. So I'm going to go here. We're going to choose a couple of preset skies. We'll see what lemon cantaloupe looks like. Check it off. Check it off. And render. I now have a world that has a hazy lemon cantaloupe sunset. Anti-aliasing means that it's not done rendering. What it's doing is it's putting the materials in image view over the wireframe and making a rendered image. The rendered image only exists from one point of view. So before you hit render, you need to make sure you're looking at it from the point of view that you want to look at it. Let's look at this from some other points of view so that you can see what we're doing. This is the camera view. Render. It's the other side. The camera view and the director's view start across from each other. I'll go to my views right here. This is the top. Looking at it from the top. Remember, we're making a 3D world like a sculpture that we could spin around and look at from all different angles and all different sides. Now let's change to the right. Things look a little bit different when they're lined up from different sides. I'm going to go back to the beginning. I'm going to click over and I'm going to go back to director's view. This is director's view. So in director's view, what I'm going to do is I'm going to render. Let's say I love this and this is the world that I've created. I'm going to wait until it says 100% when anti-aliasing down here and up here. 100%. Once it gets a 100%, I'm ready to save my image. So all I have to do is hover my cursor all the way up as high as it'll go to the top of the screen, and this Bryce file menu will show up. I'm going to click on File. I'm going to click as Save As. Now, you cannot save directly to the server folder. So what you're going to do is you're going to save to the desktop, or you're going to save to under computer. If you can see your student ID number, you're going to save there. So we're going to go to desktop. I'm going to title this as my last name. And I'm going to leave it as a Bryce file. If you have an earlier version of Bryce, it may say .br6 or .br5. That's fine, don't worry about it, but leave it as a Bryce file and no dots after your name. I'm going to click Save. It will be on the desktop. To turn it in and save it on the Fine Arts server folder, you're going to minimize the desktop and drag and drop it into the Fine Arts server folder. That is beginning Bryce.